Hey there, and welcome to Soul Station. My name is Bryce, and I am so glad you're here. Today, I'm going to be working on 3 different pieces. I have this large easel mirror and then this cute little end table, and I decided to paint this old little bench that I had in my bathroom because it was looking kind of sad and I had some extra milk paint to use up. To get started, I gave everything a really good wipe down and clean. This old mirror was marked up with the Sharpie on the back and it had a lot of scratches all over, so I gave it a couple coats of primer, and I did that with the little end table as well. When the primer was dry, I added a coat of soft white paint. When the paint was dry, I used fine sandpaper to smooth away the bumps. I used an empty plastic container to mix up the milk paint. Following the instructions, I added equal part warm water to the paint. I'm using Sweet Pickins milk paint in the color Sweetie Jane, and this is my first time trying milk paint that you actually just mix up, with the water yourself, and I ordered this from Jamie Ray Vintage. Next, I added 1 part of Extra Bond to the 2 parts of mixed up paint. This step probably wasn't necessary, but because I had it, I wanted to give it a try and to make sure that all of the paint adhered really well because my furniture had a glossy finish. The instructions say to give it 10 minutes so that the paint thickens up a little bit. I really enjoyed using this green color because a lot of the stuff that I do is white, so this was really fun to do. I applied 1 coat to all 3 of these pieces. This morning I was reading in the book of John where Jesus said, "These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." And when I read that, I had never thought about how the Lord had actually prophesied his future. Like, he spoke what was going to happen, that he was going to overcome death and rise again, and he did. But that just made me think, wow, that is how we are supposed to be talking about our own lives, that we are overcomers. Reminded me of another spot in the Bible where it says that we believe, therefore we speak. It was such an awesome reminder to me of how important my words are, and so I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I hope that it encourages you as well. I did not get a whole lot of crackle on the milk paint finish when these were dried, and I think that it's because I used the Extra Bond. But I decided to bring these out here so that I could sand them with my sander. Using my sander made it much easier to distress these pieces and get that white to come through. When I paint on mirrors or windows, I usually just paint right along the edge. I'm not worried about getting paint on there because I just use a razor blade and I clean the paint off, and I find that way easier than using tape or masking it off. I think it's just personal preference. If you would feel more comfortable taping it off, then you can do that too. Once I had all the paint cleaned off of the mirror, I sealed this with some Big Top. I'm going to apply paint inlays to these two little pieces here, and so before I do that I need to seal them, and then I'm going to add my paint inlay onto the sealer. I applied this sealer twice to the top just to make sure I have a good layer of it for my paint inlay to stick to. Once I have the paint inlay applied, then I use a mister and I just spray water on it and then dab it gently to make sure that the paint inlay is pressed down into the piece so that the paint will adhere to it. I waited about 2 hours and then I misted it with water, gave it about 20-30 seconds, and then I started to peel off the inlay. Then I applied a 50-50 mix of my top coat and some water. You can see here that it's smeared just a little bit, and I think maybe I need to use a fine mister instead of this spray bottle that I'm using because it's not getting enough of the top coat onto the paint inlay to seal it. I cut the paint inlays and laid them out on a design that I thought would look good on my bench here. I followed the same steps to apply these paint inlays to this bench that I did with the little table. This bench I got from a friend of mine. Her name was Jean, and I just loved her. She was kind of like a surrogate grandmother to me and to my kids when we had first moved to Montana. I was young and had 3 little kids, and she was probably in her 70s at the time. And anyway, she was just such a sweet friend. I'm sorry I don't have a better staged picture here of this mirror, but I wanted to show it to you before we got it loaded up for the market. I am getting ready to put all of my stuff in my trailer and get packed up for that, so I wanted to make sure to show you an end result of this mirror. I really like how the table and bench turned out. I love the paint inlay on the top of this table. I think it's so pretty. The only thing is I gotta fix that mister so that I can get that sealed before I apply the final top coat. And the other thing about the paint inlays is I noticed that they are just a little bit shiny, like you can see a little bit of the extra part of the paint inlay. And so I'm wondering if maybe I need to use a different top coat. So I might try wax next time, but I'm still happy with them, and I think this little table is going to sell quickly. In my next video, I will be giving you a tour of our booth at the Vintage Market, and I also have a fun announcement. So thank you so much for watching, and God bless.